All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Fantasy 15. Ryan and I are here. We're your source for fantasy football. It is week 14 in the NFL. And you know what that means, Ryan? It's playoff elimination week.
Yes, it is. You
So,
better if you're on the border, man, you better have yourself right.
so I have a couple buddies this week that are facing off, and pretty much it's winner gets in our dynasty league. And I had to send them this video that just kind of made me chuckle.
Let's see it.
You don't wanna do it, but
It's great.
somebody's gotta do it, right?
Yeah. It's
Someone's gotta end it
dude,
for the other guy.
that's such a classic.
Yeah, it's just too funny. So, it's, they got knives out this week because loser just doesn't get a chance at the pot, right? So, um, being that this is week 14 and this is do or die now for some of you guys to get into the playoffs, some of the moves of who you sit and start really truly matters this week. So Ryan and I are going to try to get you set up the best that we possibly can, whether that be with today's show, which talks about our top 15 for the week and also our best bets. We're also going to talk about the schedule this week and then our ultimate lineup, which it might help you depending on who you have going. Obviously, it's fun for Ryan and I, and hopefully fun for you guys to watch us duke it out, whether that be in the best bets or the ultimate lineup. But if you got some high profile individuals and you're looking at who to start, you can kind of weigh those different options of maybe even some of the things that Ryan and I are thinking about before we make our decisions on that. Now, if you're not already, make sure that you're following us on X, YouTube, and also after these episodes have aired here live, we also upload them to Spotify. And then, of course, follow us on TikTok as well. So, with that, we like to start off the shows now recently with our new format with the ultimate lineup.
What a
So,
drum roll. What an
I know,
intro.
I know. So, the suspense, I know it's killing you right now.
Hmm.
You can't wait to see how everything
Hmm.
turned out last week. Um, I regret to inform you, it was again not a great week for Ryan. It was a good week for Steve. And
I
honestly,
mean,
you had a good week too. I mean, your
yeah,
guys were solid all the way through.
152 points is not bad.
It's really good, to be honest. And actually 170.44. I mean, now you had the record last week for total points scored in a week, but this was my highest uh, points scored. I didn't really feel like it was my best week, but that Seahawks defense obviously helped
Yeah,
me a lot. And Mahomes Rice, that connection really cooked it up for me.
yeah.
But looking at your lineup, like you were
Cook
solid all the
Mahomes
way through.
cooked rice.
You were solid all the way through. I mean, that Broncos defense, it was maybe the weak spot, which
Yeah.
is surprising. But all the way through your lineup, really solid picks.
Yeah, I
So
mean, really, Jonathan Taylor with a rather pedestrian performance, and Puka, kind of. I mean, Devonte Adams has been so great inside the the red area that Puka's just not getting the targets and the looks, and so that kind of crushed me. And then your defense getting some crazy number that hurt. I mean, just pick against your home squad. Way to go! Just so you could win
uh,
a meaningless ultimate lineup game.
this is a non-biased show. And you know what? You talked about Jonathan Taylor getting a pedestrian for him, a
Yeah,
pedestrian
for
13.6.
him.
How awesome is that to have a running back when he's off on a week? He's still
Yeah.
scoring you 13.6 points. That's amazing in an off week. It
Yep.
definitely is. Now, during the show, if you guys have any comments or questions for us on week 14, make sure that you're sending them in X, YouTube. Ryan and I will get to them, especially once we get through our ultimate lineup. So the very first thing that we need to get to with business is I'm 7-2, you're 2-7 now. You lost this week.
Okay.
That means you get to pick again this week, starting off in the ultimate lineup this week.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty clear cut number one overall pick this week, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, in my opinion, I think it's pretty clear that
Okay.
um uh yeah. Yeah.
Is
From
there?
what I was looking at, yeah. And I think that individual is playing tomorrow night, and it's Jahmyr Gibbs against the Cowboys defense.
I thought I was going to throw you off a little bit with that by trying to make you think last minute, like there
No.
is. You're going to find out. He's my number one running back, and of course, you have just sniped him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just you got a Cowboys defense that hasn't been great while they've been better than they were most of the season the last couple of weeks, but still not great. You got Detroit team who may be without Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they're going to be relying heavily, I think, on Gibbs. So to me, it was a no-brainer. I saw the schedule and I knew I was going Gibbs if I had first pick, which I'm pretty familiar with.
All right. Well, Ryan, it goes ahead and he takes Jahmyr Gibbs, and I can't let you do it to me. So I got to come back and fire with Devon Achane.
Yeah, that's pretty. That one kind of fits. Gotta say. Mm-hmm. Well, this guy's been the number one wide receiver in fantasy all year, and he had a pretty bad week, to be honest, against the Vikings defense. The problem was the Vikings offense, but regardless, we're gonna grab JSN before you do.
I might be okay with that. I might be okay with
have
that.
to be.
I don't know. Sam Darnold has looked off. So 3 of the last 4 weeks. So I think I'm okay with that. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna take Ja'Marr Chase.
Yeah. I think that's I think those are the clear cut 1 and 2 receivers this week. So kind of expected that. I'm gonna go back to the running back position here, and we just finished talking about him, but I like Jonathan Taylor against Jacksonville.
Okay.
We're kind of firing quick here, but I know Jacksonville's defense is pretty good. But this is an AFC South matchup that has a ton of weight on it late in the season. And who would have thought Colts versus Jacksonville would mean what it means this week? And both teams sitting at 8-4. This is a huge game for both teams. And I think Indy's really going to pull out all the stops and make sure they get that run game going.
Absolutely. No, that's a really good pick. I have to think about this here. So I think with myself, just trying to be strategic with this. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
Do it. I know what you're gonna do.
Do you though?
I think so, but go ahead.
Well, I think I have to. Josh Allen versus Cincinnati.
Yeah. Yep. That's kind of what I figured. That's fine. A little early for a quarterback, if you ask me, but that might be why I'm 2-7. Well, I'm gonna go back to Thursday Night Football, and kind of crazy. I'm gonna go with Pickens over.
You did snipe me. You will see in my charts. You did just snipe me.
I like Pickens. I
I
just
didn't
think,
think you were gonna go there.
yeah, man, he's such a big target. Dak loves him, and he's been getting more of the again the red area targets that really help you with points. So I think he can get in the end zone at least once
You sniped me. He's my number
against
3
the
wide receiver this
Lions.
week. You
Lions got some
absolutely sniped.
secondary injuries. I mean,
You sniped me, man.
let's go.
Ah, that I did not expect.
We
That was a little bit surprising.
expect unexpected.
I wow. I can't let you do it again, so I got to go Trey McBride.
I knew, I knew what you were gonna do.
Can't let you get me again there.
I don't. Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't even have to worry about tight end now. So I got 2 receivers, 2 running backs. Don't need to pick a quarterback, so I'm gonna stick with a position player. Ooh, this is where it gets a little dicey. And you know, I'm really struggling with this pick because, well, I don't want to give away much, but there's like 2 guys really that I kind of want to that I kind of like both of them. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with
I'm gonna start typing it in.
I don't think you're going to get it. Ugh. It's so tough, man. You know what? Let's go. Yeah, no, I'm gonna do it. Let's go. Let's go with Puka.
Wow. No joke. I will change it, but I'm just gonna show you that I typed it in of who I thought you were gonna go with.
Chase, Gibbs, Taylor, Jason, Pickens, Devontae. Yeah,
I totally thought you were gonna go that route.
that's an honest to God. I'm torn between both of them, and the only reasons I go Puka this week is it is the trash talk that he was doing over the week against Sauce Gardner. And I know they're not even playing the Colts, but I just think that I don't know, he's gonna be out there. And the Cardinals stink, man. They're
You
not.
did snipe me again, just so you
Yeah,
know.
let's
But
go.
I did have Puka at number 4.
Okay.
I had Devontae at number 8, but I do like the logic, and I struggled with that as well as I was trying to fill out my rankings.
It's so hard.
So you did kind of snipe me there.
Yeah.
But because you win a position player and you're now full up on running backs and wide receivers, I don't have to worry about my last pick there.
Nope.
So because of that, I'm going to go over to another well, and I'm going to pick my defense, and I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah. Yep. You have to. You absolutely have to. And I don't blame you.
So you got a quarterback left, a tight end, and a defense and a kicker.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. All right. We're going to go. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. I should just go ahead and go and grab my kicker before you grab a kicker, I guess.
Woo!
I'm just I'm liking Will the Thrill this week.
Okay.
Yeah. Vikings just need to cross the 50 and he'll have a few,
So one of the comments I see from Franny Leiden on X is, "Am I the only Vikings fan checking Tankathon weekly at this point?"
Oh no, I am too. Tell you go ahead, Steve. Tell him what I told you earlier today.
I think we're both on the same page. We'd rather have a loss than a win at this point. And when initially, I don't know if you want to tell them, but you pulled back on one of your best bets. You got me excited this week because you were gonna take the Vikings in your best bet segment
Yeah.
this week, and you decided, to go back the other way. So
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
that was funny. You got my hopes up, like, hey, do we have a chance to win? And then at the same time, I'm like, wait, we don't want to win. We
Right.
want to see growth. We want to see good things in this game. If you're a Vikings fan, but obviously, the tankathon. I mean, you want a good draft pick. You want to be able to
Yeah.
improve your team through the draft.
And
Um,
look, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not actively rooting for the Vikings to lose. It's not like that.
yeah,
What
absolutely.
all I'm saying is come
Okay.
game no, but come game time, I'm gonna like just natural. I'm gonna be rooting for them to win, like watching them play. I'm gonna watch them hoping that they win. But before, like right now, you know, before the game and then even the day after the game, I'm gonna be like, dang, I hope we lose or I wish we lost.
Right.
Because of what it does for your draft pick. And we got 2 4-win teams facing off against each other. So this game means a lot for draft position.
Absolutely.
So
I think my next pick, because I don't think we're going against each other at this
no,
point because we have opposing picks.
yeah, we're good.
So, with that being said, I think that hmm, which way do I want to go with this? This is just such a tough one.
Yep.
Um, I think I have to go kicker Brandon Aubrey.
Okay. Uh yeah, that's a good pick, I think. Should be
High scoring.
points. Should be. Should be. Uh what do I have? Tight end?
You have a tight end and a quarterback that you need yet in a defense.
Yeah, Trey McBride was such a huge pick this week because Brock Bowers playing Denver, whose defense is
Is he?
insane. Yeah, is he? And George Kittle's on a bye.
That's
Um,
correct.
yeah, yep. So, like, I don't know. I don't. I kind of like Kyle Pitts this week because Kirk likes him, and
Mhm.
against the Seattle team, I'm tempted to go there, but I'm actually going to shift over back to the Colts and Jaguars game, go with Tyler Warren.
Okay. Awesome.
I think really I was between him and Mark Andrews, and I'm just gonna go Tyler Warren.
Dude, I'm with you. I'm with
Mhm,
you. Mark Andrews. This feels
mhm,
like a total Mark Andrews game. And that was before it was even
yeah,
announced. When he plays Pittsburgh and it's AFC North type of game, this just feels like a Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson, uh, 2 touchdown type game,
yeah,
for Mark Andrews. Um,
and I'm
I totally wanted to rank him super high, but I do like the pick with Warren.
yeah,
I'm with you on Brock Bowers. Now I have Brock Bowers up there just because hey, Brock
he's Brock
Bowers is
Bowers.
he's Brock Bowers. He's coming off a 2 touchdown, but you know what he did last time he played the Broncos? 1 reception for 31 yards.
Yeah, their defense is insane, man. I it's crazy to say that Broncos have a legitimate shot at
Mhm.
going to a Super Bowl, going through the AFC. Primarily because if you look at the AFC, like there's no team dominating by any means. Like what team scares you in the AFC more than any other? Uh, the Colts have fallen
Yeah.
off. New England hasn't played anybody. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, they look dominant against bad teams, which is good. But
Mhm.
their schedule has been not very difficult. And then when you think about the AFC too, nobody has indoor stadiums. And so when you're playing outside in the cold in January, your defense that was good is going to be even better. So I just don't know. I don't know, man. I like a Broncos future to go to the Super Bowl might not be a terrible bet right now. So their defense is just that good. It's they they're gonna I think they're gonna set NFL record for team sacks for the year. It's crazy. It's you can't even drop back against them. And the other team that's very similar to that is Houston. And that's why I didn't like Travis Kelce this week. I mean, I know Kansas City's favored in this game, but Houston just, I mean, they just pound you, man. It's like you drop back and they're in your grill within a second. You can't run the ball on them. You can't throw on them. Their defenses, they fly around and they hit you, man. You're getting popped in the mouth when you play Houston. So I don't know. So yeah, I go Tyler Warren there.
Okay, and I come back and I'm going to go ahead and go with Cook out of Buffalo at running back. I needed a running back, so I like that Cincinnati. I don't necessarily like having Allen and Cook at the same time, but I'm going to go ahead and do it against a porous Cincinnati defense this week. And you still need a quarterback in a defense.
Yeah, so I was kind of holding on quarterback till I figured out who you were going to take for your final position. Just because if you were going to go Devontae Adams, I was going to go Stafford, because then if Devontae scores or if Puka scores and I have Stafford, I'm pretty good, right?
Sure.
So since you did not, I'm actually going to go. Now, it's supposed to be 30 degrees out, but only a 20% chance of snow. But you never know with wind in Buffalo. And you have Chase. So I think I'm going to go with Burrow.
All right. Nice. You know what? That is a sneaky, underrated strategy. It really is, because it almost counters me taking Chase. And I think this is maybe the first time we've seen that strategy be used against us like that.
Well, we'll see how it plays out, I guess.
That's interesting. I do expect that to be a higher scoring game. I guess if bad weather comes into play, that could definitely change. But those two quarterbacks going against each other, I mean, there's got to be 50 plus points scored in that game, right?
You would think 100%. Yeah, there's a couple games with some crazy point totals this week. I mean, the Thursday night game being one of them with Cowboys Lions, expecting a lot of points there, and then the Bengals and Bills, like you mentioned, they're expecting high scoring game there. And I even probably what do you call it? Rams and Cardinals. I think that was pretty decently high point total too. So
now I'll be honest, because you took George Pickens and totally sniped me at wide receiver, and I need a wide receiver. I'm very tempted to go CD Lamb here.
Yeah.
To hope I get the other side of that.
Yeah.
Man.
Kind of makes sense.
One would think that, but I'm gonna try to go boom and bust. And so it's also tempting to try to take Williams from Detroit versus Dallas if St. Brown does not play Thursday.
Yeah, the key is you just don't know.
You just don't know. And I don't know if he can truly be a number one when a defense game plans for him without a St. Brown.
Right.
But I'm going to go with A.J. Brown.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at A.J. Brown too. It's just I don't know. Chargers defense pretty good, but Eagles coming off that loss to the Bears, even though A.J. Brown had a great game.
It did. It was a huge.
I mean, maybe the key to Eagles winning is A.J. Brown being annoyed that he doesn't get any catches.
I would love that this week.
You would hate that this week.
I would love for AJ Brown to get a lot of points this week.
I know. I said maybe the key for the Eagles
Oh,
winning games was
I
AJ
got
Brown
you.
not getting any
Oh,
any
yeah. We
catches.
don't want that. We don't want that. I know Devontae Smith is supposed to be playing, is
Yeah.
healthy enough to play this week. We'll see how much that cuts into AJ Brown, but with the success that they had with him moving the ball, I'm hoping they don't totally go away from that.
Right. All right. So I have a defense, and that's it, right?
You do, and this will be interesting because I am totally intrigued to see who you take at defense.
I think there's really two options left on the board. I mean, Denver's far and away the number one pick on defense this week. So then I turn to either Cleveland, because they're playing Tennessee. Cleveland does have a good defense, and Myles Garrett may break the sack record this year. So the sacks alone, and who I think I'm going to stick with. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Rams.
That is not who I thought you were going to take.
You were like expecting me to go. Hold on. That's interesting. What did you think I was going to do? Texans?
Well, no. Hold on. Let me write in the Rams here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I did not think you were going that route. Now, the Rams do have one of the top defenses in the league, fantasy-wise. They absolutely do.
And they're playing the Cardinals.
But I totally thought you were going to go the Browns initially. But then when you said, I'm going to do it, I thought you were going to go with the Commanders.
Oh, no. Their defense is bad.
But I totally thought that you were going to, well, again.
I know who they're playing. I understand they're playing JJ McCarthy.
Did last week. But the other option I thought you would maybe go with is maybe the Seahawks at Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because you did not take Bijan.
Well, I was looking at that game, but the thing is, like, I don't know, man. I guess like Kirk didn't look bad last week.
Mm-hmm.
I know they lost to the Jets. Jets defense isn't terrible, and they had 2 chances to win the game, but Kirk can throw the ball enough to score enough points, like he's capable of doing that. And he's not like a huge turnover guy, although I guess he has been more with Atlanta than he was with Minnesota. I don't know, man. I guess I have too much faith in Kirk Cousins to take Seattle. and I just like the Rams matchup against the Cardinals more. I think they can really take them to the wood.
So with my last pick, I need a flex. I can go running back or I can go receiver. Very tempted to go CeeDee Lamb here and hedge my bets with that Dallas-Detroit game, which I do think is going to be high scoring. But I really like some of these 3 running backs. I like Josh Jacobs versus Chicago. Okay. I like Chase Brown at Buffalo. And I also...
let me guess. Kyren Williams.
I like Breece Hall versus Miami. So those 3 individuals, I think, out of the running backs is who I'm going to go with.
All
right. And I think overall, the way that I got to go in this one is just going to be based off of what they have been doing lately. And I think, they're a running team. They like running the ball when it's near the goal line. So I think I'm just going to bite the bullet here. I really want to go Josh Jacobs here.
You hate doing it. But yeah, I think I mean I don't know. I think that's a good pick. I hate it too.
I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with it. And I'm gonna go Josh Jacobs. That one might hurt me, but it also I feel like that's like a boom or bust game for him.
Yeah. Low key, I like Bucky Irvin this week.
I just need to see him back healthy, scoring points again, and and I need to see. I mean, Tampa Bay's offense has been really
Uh-huh.
up and down. They're boom or bust. They're scoring 6 points, 9 points, and then the
Yeah.
next week they're scoring 30.
I'm curious to see because I don't see your lists ahead of time, but I am curious to see where you have like Javante Williams ranked too, because
Absolutely.
Lions, Javante, people teams have been able to run the ball in the Lions a little bit this year. So
Well, since we have our ultimate lineup picked, we are ready to get into the top 15 because we're still waiting for some more of your guys' questions. So if you got questions or comments, again, remember this is the playoff elimination week here. So if you got questions for Ryan or I, it's week 14, any sitter start questions, comments on our ultimate lineup or comment on the top 15 chart, just go ahead and bring those to us. Ryan, I'm going to actually just keep you on here with the top
oh,
15. I think that's just better and easier for
cool.
some commentary on the way down. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start the top 15, starting with our quarterbacks.
We need an intro.
We got new graphics, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
So our spotlight quarterback and number one that I have was Josh Allen. Again, it's versus Cincinnati. Josh Allen is a do-it-all type quarterback. He's going to throw it. He's going to run it. Maybe not a Jameis Winston catch it for a touchdown, but he's definitely going to run it and he's definitely going to pass it. Jared Goff versus Dallas. I was hoping you would stay away from that one
I
in the
did.
ultimate lineup, but Jared Goff, I think that has a chance of blowing up and being a big game if St. Brown is able to suit up for that game. If he's not, that does get a little shakier for me. But Dak Prescott at Detroit, he's gonna be chucking that pigskin a little bit in that game. I liked Joe Burrow. I thought that was a good pick, but again, weather dependent. Jalen Hurts, I don't know if I liked this pick at 5 because to me, Jalen Hurts is either up or down lately. But he does find a way in a lot of games to get points with running the ball, and if he's not running it, he's throwing it. So it's hard for me not to have Hurts in the top 10 just because he's able to score both ways and he still somehow finds a way, usually to get you 20 points a week. Matt Stafford at number 6. Number 7, Lamar Jackson versus Pittsburgh. And again, that feels like one of those matchups that's going to be in the 20s at least.
Yeah.
Mayfield versus New Orleans. I like that matchup for Mayfield. Love in Chicago. I think that could be a back and forth type of game. But if I have to pick a quarterback in that game, I like Love versus Chicago's defense more than I like Caleb Williams versus Green Bay's defense. And that's why you see Caleb Williams at 14. With Brissett versus the Rams, um, Brissett has been playing well, and he's actually been a pretty decent fantasy quarterback. So Brissett, he's been scoring points. Rams are a good defense, and I don't know if I love that matchup either way.
Hmm.
So like you went the Rams defense, which I have the Rams defense in one of my leagues for my dynasty league. I just don't know if I love that one, and I also have Brissett in that same league. But it's just the Rams good defense and Brissett. Like I don't think this is going to be one of his higher scoring games, but yet he's got Harrison Jr. back, and he seemingly has found a way to get Michael Wilson involved with the offense, and he still has Trey McBride.
Yeah.
So, even though the Rams are a really good defense, I feel like Brissett still finds a way, for them to be somewhere close to the 20-point mark somehow in this game. And the
Yeah.
Rams have found a way to lose to, some teams like they did last week. The
Yeah, I don't
Panthers.
know, man. I mean, the Panthers are a good team, and even in that game, the Rams had every opportunity. They turned the ball over a bunch,
Hmm.
and you turn the ball over, that's just kind of going to happen here and there. But I don't. I still think that the Rams are the best team in football right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think too. Bo Nix versus Las Vegas. I think that is a pretty decent matchup for Nix. And and that's just due to, I think the defense is going to put him in favorable situations where he should be able to score some points for you tonight, or sorry, this weekend. Daniel Jones versus Jacksonville. I just don't trust his leg. He's playing with a broken leg. You know, he
Apparently,
takes
Justin Herbert is too now.
yeah. I mean, and you notice there's no Justin Herbert on my list.
Yeah.
Um, I don't like Daniel Jones. I like but don't love him. Just like last week, I really was hesitant in playing him at all, and I sat him on my bench because I have him in one league versus Houston last week. Same thing with this week. I feel like he's one hit away from the IR. Sam
Mm.
Darnold at Atlanta, he had an injury. He was questionable, and now he's healthy to play in that game. Just he's been really down and not scoring well. The last 4 weeks, average wise, 3 of the last 4, he's been a dud, scoring around that 3 to 5 points fantasy wise. Just hasn't been great, even though um, JSN's still been getting his points. Not last week, but the week before, he got the 167 and 2. But other than that, last 3 to 4 games, he's been kind of pedestrian. I don't like Williams versus Green Bay. I feel like even though he has some escapability to him, Green Bay has been a monster at getting to the quarterback. That could lead to turnovers. Lawrence versus Indianapolis. I dogged on Lawrence last week, and he actually had a good week. So um, he gets to stay at the 15. I still don't overly trust him, but he gets to stay at 15 for me. Going on to our running backs, you stole them from me, Jamar Gibbs. I feel like he's going to have this could be one of those monster weeks for him as well. But I also like Devon Achane, versus the Jets. The Jets, they got rid of Quinnen Williams, so there's a pretty big hole there, right? They
Mhm.
don't have Sauce Gardner anymore. So I like Miami being able to put up some points this week. So I have my number 2. You can't not have a top 5, let alone maybe even a top 3 without Jonathan Taylor facing off against Jacksonville. We know Daniel Jones has a hurt leg. He's not going to be running a lot, but Jonathan Taylor surely is. I like Cook versus Cincinnati. Jacobs, like I mentioned, against Chicago. You heard me talk about that. I do like Chase Brown at Buffalo. And even if this is a bad weather type game, that definitely favors Brown to have a decent game in that one as well. When you're playing these cold weather type games, you can go one of two ways. It can be a low scoring game, but you can also take it that, hey, there's going to be a lot of big plays in the game because when a defense is playing off of a receiver and it's bad weather, it favors the receiver because the receiver knows where he's going. The defender is guessing. So what that potentially leads to sometimes is huge plays in wide open receivers, and also one cut is all it takes to make a move for a running back. Brees Hall versus Miami, that's a dangerous one. Tyrod Taylor has kind of morphed that offense, and that's kind of been a signal that Justin Fields is for sure dead with the Jets. The way that Tyrod Taylor's been playing, Brees Hall, that should be a good game. I really like that game. I would watch that one. Yeah, it's 2 losing teams, but I think that's actually going to be an exciting one to watch, especially for fantasy reasons. Quinshon Junkins versus Tennessee. Man, I wish I had, if this wasn't such a big week for so many other running backs, Quinshon would be higher on my list than what he is at number 8. Derrick Henry versus Pittsburgh. Again, I feel like this is a solid type game for Derrick Henry, potentially as well. It's just, there's a lot of other running backs, ahead of him. I don't like Bijan Robinson this week versus Seattle. And do I still think that he's going to get his catches? Absolutely. I just don't think he's going to get the rushing yards this week. And when he's got Tyler Algier still vulturing touchdowns, that makes me hate it even more this week. Like you mentioned, Bucky Irving versus New Orleans. I just want to see some healthy, good weeks from him before I can trust that. Coming back from an injury, Kyron Williams versus Arizona. He had kind of a nagging injury as well last week, came back into the game and still finished solid. Saquon versus the Chargers. He struggled again last week against the Bears. He only had, I think, 53 yards.
Yeah.
But only 13 rushes. So
Right.
that's the flip side of it. If you give him 20 plus carries, he's over 100 yards and maybe has he a touchdown.
They should
You know,
definitely do that this week.
but for some reason, like
No reason to throw it. Don't throw it. Like,
uh,
don't throw it to
all
AJ
year,
Brown.
yeah, all year, you're sitting in the teens for carries for him, and that's just frustrating for a team that likes to run the ball. But they choose to run it with Jalen Hurts instead of Saquon Barkley, which is the most frustrating thing ever for Saquon Barkley owners. I'm not one of them, but if I was, I'd be even more frustrated than what I am. I like Devontae Swift. I just don't like him versus Green Bay. Um, Javonte Williams versus Detroit. This is probably sacrilegious putting him as low as I did at number 15. But I think this is the type of game where Dallas is going to want to throw the ball a little bit more than running it, just with the way that Detroit plays defense. But we will see. I could be wrong on this. I do think he'll get opportunities for touchdowns. So, I probably did myself a disservice by putting him at number 15. Now, at wide receiver, I do have Jamar Chase at my number one spot with Jackson Smith and Jigba because of the play of Sam Darnold lately versus Atlanta. He is nursing. Uh, Supposedly, he's healthy and he's no longer questionable for this week, but again, still nursing that injury. George Pickens, you sniped me at number 3. I was totally, man, I thought for sure I was going to get George Pickens with my next wide receiver pick, and then you got him and you got Nakua. So you got number 2, 3, and 4 on my list. I had AJ Brown at number 5. I picked him up. I was tempted to pick Rashee Rice just because I think Rashee Rice is still going to get his this week.
Sure.
I don't love Patrick Mahomes this week, but I do still think that Rashee Rice is going to get at least 8 receptions in this ball game. Williams for Detroit versus Dallas. This could be, he had a big week last week with St. Brown going out. Could it be again? I don't know. When he's a number one and defense is game planning for him, we'll see.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams, I had the same struggle you did. Which one to take? Devontae's getting the touchdowns. Puka's getting the targets. But touchdowns equals points, and that's what Adams has been able to do lately. Um, I did really I almost kind of wanted to go higher. It's just Shug isn't as reliable as I need him to be yet, but I really do like that he has a connection with Olave. And against Tampa Bay, I do like that matchup. Just not enough to put it any higher than 9. Is it going to be CD or is it going to be Pickens? Lately, it's been the Pickens show. He's getting the number 2 corners. CD Lamb's drawn the number 1, sometimes double teams, and Pickens is feasting. Abuka versus New Orleans. He's been kind of up and down lately. He wasn't even the leading receiver last week. So um, it feels like a Sudden game, even though it's number 12. But I like Sudden this week at Las Vegas. I really like Metcalf, even though it's at 13. This feels like they're going to try to get the ball plenty to DJ Metcalf. Christian Watson has been showing a lot lately, even with not as many targets or receptions, but he's been able to explode with deep shots and also near the red zone. So he's coming off a 2 touchdown game and a 1 touchdown game in his last couple, and pretty impressive coming back from the injury. So he's one to watch that could be a riser. Nico Collins at Kansas City. I don't know. It's like it's Nico. He could have one of those games where it's decent and it gets into the end zone because they need to score some points. But I don't like the matchup versus KC. All right, moving on. You already know who I have at number 1, and it's hard to replace him with someone else, especially with the matchups this week. Trey
Yeah.
McBride versus the Rams. They're going to target him. He's going to get his 7+ receptions. Travis Kelsey versus Houston. To me, this feels like a good Travis Kelsey type game. Brock Bowers, you have to put him there, but I hate the matchup this week just because Denver seems to have figured out something in their last game of how to defend him. So whether that was just Gino wasn't able to, um, put him in the right, you know, find him, or the play calling wasn't able to put Bowers in the right position, whatever it may be, you know, they got to try to fix that if you're Las Vegas. But Denver thinks that they have something figured out. So Warren was my number 4 versus Jacksonville. Ferguson at Detroit. I feel like maybe he should have been higher than number 5, at least in the top 4. I This could be a Ferguson type week too, just because I think a lot of throwing is going to be done in that game by Dallas. And like you and I talked about, Mark Andrews feels like a 2 touchdown type game that he's sitting on. Um, you know, I I will be surprised if Mark Andrews does not catch at least a touchdown this week. Johnson versus Tampa Bay, like that one. Ertz versus Minnesota. The Commanders love throwing to Ertz. They just do. And we struggle covering tight ends on this football team. They like to sit down the zone. Ertz is one of the best and has been doing it for a long time. Also, like Goddard versus the Chargers. Gadsden versus Philly. Gadsden's been down a lot lately here. One that is a riser is Harold Fannin Jr. He's getting more than double the targets than Njoku is, and he's facing Tennessee this week. So Shadur is more of a pure passer than Dylan Gabriel. Hey, he found the end zone last week for like a 34-yard score. We'll see what he does this week. Brendan Strange versus Indiana, and Auden versus New Orleans. That could be a good one for Auden. But again, he's not one of those high producing tight ends typically. Waller at New York, and then Dalton Schultz versus KC. All right, so for our kickers, we'll run through those real quick. I actually have Matt Prater versus Cincinnati. Aubrey versus Dallas. Aubrey versus Detroit is at my number 2, right? Typo from me. Myers for Seattle going against Atlanta. He had a big week last week. And then also Bates versus Dallas for Detroit. And then Will Lutz versus Las Vegas. Tyler Loop versus Pittsburgh. Evan McPherson got you 20 points in the ultimate lineup last week. He's facing Buffalo. I still kind of like him this week. Chris Boswell versus Baltimore. Fairbairn, Kansas City. Volk versus Miami. That Volk versus Miami, I think, is a sneaky one this week. Also one to look out for is Riley Patterson versus the Jets. Just because I think there's going to be some points scored in that one, and I think Patterson's going to have an opportunity to kick some field goals. And then I do have Will Reichert on my list. It's just, hey, we scored 6 points. The game before, and we scored zero last week. So if you're a Vikings fan, again, it hurts me to put him at 15 because I think Will's an amazing kicker, but your offense has to put you in a position to kick field goals too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they played two. Look, they looked like dog poo-poo, so don't get me wrong, but they played 2 very, very good defenses back-to-back weeks. So
absolutely.
I think it's a nice little break to be able to face the Commanders. and it's a game, frankly, where you have to look competent, and you just have to as an offense against this Commanders defense of strutting out 90-year-old Bobby Wagner at middle linebacker who can hardly run at all side to side. So you better be able to move the ball a little bit.
Now, for our defense, I did have the Broncos versus Las Vegas. They were a force last time they played the Raiders. Browns versus Tennessee, like that matchup as well. Seahawks at Atlanta. Commanders versus Minnesota. Right now, you almost have to play every defense that plays Minnesota right now just because of the turnovers and the sacks. Eagles versus the Chargers, Bucks versus New Orleans, and then the Rams versus Arizona. Again,
you love some Jacoby Brissett.
I do like Jacoby, fantasy wise, and just you look what he's been able to do. Michael Wilson, he looked like he was not going to be on an NFL roster.
Yeah.
Until Harrison went out of the game and they had to throw to Michael Wilson. And then it's just like, whoa, this guy can catch balls.
And that you're
I
talking
don't
about
know.
2 weeks
He
ago.
he had back-to-back weeks where he had
Yeah,
double digit catches and over 100 some, you know, yards, touchdowns, and it was just like, "Whoa." Like, how
as
come you
a
haven't been using this guy as a weapon? He looks
yeah,
more effective than Marvin Harrison Jr.
as a Gators fan, I'm gonna laugh this week when the true Jacoby comes out of this comes
Well,
out to play.
and we'll see, but the truth of the matter is he has been better at that position than Kyler Murray has been, and fantasy-wise, he's been a consistent around that consistent, 18 to 20 point type scorer,
Sure.
and that that's pretty solid, in fantasy football to get that out of your quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might like the Ravens more than what I have them in here, especially if it's Mason Rudolph that ends up quarterbacking, and if Aaron Rodgers still dealing with some injury type stuff going on. But Packers versus Chicago, we're starting to getting into the ones where I like it, but I don't love it.
Mhm.
One that's probably should be higher to me is Chiefs versus Houston. CJ Stroud just, he's had a couple good games, but he's kind of been a bum at QB this year. And if you're Nico Collins, you're trying to put together, one hell of a season, and kind of prove that coming back off of injury last year that you're back to true form, but just he hasn't been able to get the ball from CJ. He was actually doing better with Davis Mills than what he has been with when Stroud's been at quarterback. So that's got to be extremely frustrating for him as a wide receiver. Dolphins at the Jets. Again, I just don't like those games because I think they're both bad defenses and they have now capable offenses to put points up on one another. Not saying they're one of the best offenses, just both their defenses suck and they have capable offenses with at least some good offensive weapons on each side of the ball. Titans versus Cleveland.
Whoa.
Hey, Shadur's very capable of throwing a bomb of a game as well too. So we'll see what that ends up being. And then Colts versus Jacksonville. I just don't like that matchup as much as I maybe should, just because they got Brian Thomas Jr. back. It seems like the pickup of Jacoby Myers has also helped Trevor Lawrence, and they got Etienne. They got some weapons. So we'll see what that ends up looking like, and the Colts have been one of the better defenses all year as well, especially on fantasy. So we'll see. That's not one of those matchups that I feel strongly about this week. And with that, that's our top 15 this week in fantasy for our fantasy 15. Now, just jumping into some of your guys' questions that you guys have. Getting back to Franny, she wants to say, who should the Vikings take next year? Do we take a quarterback? And I think you're talking about the draft.
Yep.
Um, you know, eh, you know, eh, we could go through several different mock drafts. I just feel like some of the names that you're hearing, like Jeremiah Love at running back, has been thrown around in some mock drafts, even by Brad at Viking Central. He really likes Jeremiah as well. I think he's a really good running back. I just think maybe that's not our biggest hole on the team. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah.
Um, and
No, I
who
agree. I
knows?
don't I don't like Jeremiah Love. Honest to God, I wouldn't. I I liked Ty Simpson and I like Fernando Mendoza this year in the first round. Do I think they're there when the Vikings pick? No, not really. So I would say go best player available. Don't necessarily care who that would be, but um, Clemson's got some stud interior defensive linemen. Miami has Bain coming out from the
Mhm.
Hurricanes. Will he be there? I mean, it depends. Depends on how much more we lose. But if any of those guys are there, I'm all for it. If uh who's safety Ohio State? Is it Caleb
Downs.
Downs? Yeah.
Yep.
If Downs is there, he's a stud. So yeah, I, why not go one of those guys? Or hey, you know what? As crazy as this sounds, is uh Jeremiah Smith, is he coming out this year? I don't
Uh,
know. Can't think
I
about it. I can't
I've
remember.
seen
I
him on
need to do
mock
more
drafts,
mock
but
drafts.
I've seen him on mock drafts, but I don't know if he is for sure or not.
Be a stud.
Franny also says Riley Moss is going to be the depth of the Broncos, coming from an Iowa Hawkeyes fan. Trust me. Um, yeah,
Okay.
I couldn't tell you on that one. Owen Old 6912 says, "Yo, my trade deadline's tonight."
Love
Man,
it.
you got a late trade
I love it.
deadline.
I love it.
Should I trade Javante, Debo, and Ladd for A-Chain Henderson? Probably
Yeah.
not going to start Debo rest of the season anyways. So really, it's Javante and Ladd for I'd have to see the rest of your team, but on the face of it,
Yeah.
yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I do too. Going into the playoffs, especially. I guess I'd want to kind of look at Miami's remaining schedule because offhand I can't quite remember who they have remaining, but A-Chain's just such a utilization monster that
Mhm.
it'd probably be worth it.
So rest of the season, what they're looking at is after they face the Jets, they have the Steelers, the Bengals, and the Buccaneers
So yeah, I
for
love
fantasy
A-Chain.
playoffs. Yeah, A-Chain, that's a good one. Now
And the
that
Patriots haven't played anybody all year, so I mean Henderson's probably a good pickup too.
that Steelers matchup might be a little bit more difficult, but that Bengals, you make it, especially if you have a bye first round in the playoffs, and then you get the Bengals and the Buccaneers back to back. Those are huge chain weeks, or at least should be that he's sitting
Yep.
on.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, so now we're again still waiting for more of you guys' questions. Go ahead and send them in, but we're going to go ahead and move on to our best bets segment, where basically Ryan and I try to make our best guesses at which different bets we would take. Ryan has obviously been more successful at this than
Not
I
last
have.
week.
Well, the last couple weeks, but for me, I'm struggling again. I went 2-3 as well, and I did not see that Denver Broncos Washington Commanders game not going my way. But
Yeah.
somehow that happened to where
Well,
Washington made it interesting, and it went to overtime. Denver won by 1, so
yeah,
they get the win, but I still lose the week.
yeah. Denver's been it's crazy, but their defense has been keeping them in so many games. But all the games that they win are tight.
Mhm. Arizona versus Tampa Bay, man. I got that one right at least, right?
Yeah,
But Atlanta versus New York, crazy game.
yeah.
Both you and Ryan, both you and I had this game,
We
and
got jobbed.
it should have been a win. And then you
Yeah,
let the Jets come back in that game. They should have had no chance. They come back, they tie it up, and then of course they take the win in overtime.
Mhm.
Just deflating from a best bets standpoint. And then Houston Texans versus the Colts. I chose the under in that one. I didn't, two really good defenses going against each other, and Daniel Jones is hurting. I was able to win the under on that one. Now, I thought the Packers and the Lions, I thought, in my head, I thought that was going to be more of a defensive battle than what it was. I was
Wait, was
totally
that
wrong.
your pick or my pick?
That was
Did we
my
have?
pick.
I had that under also.
You may have,
Yeah.
but I know for sure I lost in this one at least, and I go 2-3 in the week, so I'm 14 of 21. Now with you, Ryan, I'll let you go ahead and talk through yours, and it looks like you also had
Yeah, Packers Lions under.
Packers Lions under as well.
I
Yep.
thought you, for some reason, I don't know, maybe I'm just confused, but I thought you had Green Bay. Um, or
No.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah, obviously Packers Lions under. I missed that. We both missed that. It was the Thanksgiving game. I thought it would probably be a little less scoring than it was. Um, but here we are. Cowboys plus 3.5 against the Chiefs. I think I said when we were talking best bets last week, and we could check the tape, but I think I said on camera, like I think Dallas could very well win that game. And sure enough, they did. And then Saints Dolphins over 42.5. The Saints had a chance to go down and win the game with a touchdown in the final drive. In their final drive, they ended up throwing an interception, I think, but that would have hit the over. And then Bears was a win. Maybe that was the game I said I think I could see
You know,
Chicago.
the two wins that you had, though,
Yeah,
whether it was the Cowboys or the Chicago ones,
yeah,
not not only are those ballsy bets, the fact that, even if you said one or both of them you thought they might win that game,
yeah,
hell of a pick. You went 2 of 3, but
yeah,
those are pretty two big W's there.
yeah, yeah. And then the Falcons, like we already touched on, they had two chances to go down and win the
Mhm.
game, and they blew it. So
And it's not like the offense wasn't doing their job, but the defense couldn't stop the Jets and Tyrod Taylor.
yeah, it's crazy. Yep. But
So,
but here we are again this week, and the odds makers once again don't believe that the Bears stand a chance.
well, we will definitely see. So, I'll let you talk about your best bets for this week, for
Mhm.
week 14.
And right there in the middle of the screen, you'll see what I'm talking about. But Saints, we'll start at the top. Saints at the Buccaneers over 42.5. I do feel like there will be enough points scored to cover that spread. 42.5 at Tampa Bay. Should be nice weather. Should be able to move the ball. Jets plus 2.5 against the Dolphins. You kind of touched on it, but Tyrod Taylor's looked competent. The offense has looked competent enough to go against a Miami defense that has been very wishy-washy and not a top unit in the NFL by any means. So I do think the Jets can keep it close. Bears, hey man, they made me money last week. Let's just keep riding it. Another 7-point spread against the Packers, who tend to play close games. I think their defense is good enough against Green Bay to at least put on enough pressure on Jordan Love to keep the game within a touchdown. Texans at Kansas City. I'm gonna say it again. I think the Texans could win this game. I think Patrick Mahomes is gonna see a lot of Danielle Hunter right in his grill. Um, and so I like Houston a lot in that game. And the Bears pick, we talked about it before, but I took out Minnesota -1.5 and put in Chicago +7
Hmm.
instead. And then the last pick here was Eagles Chargers over 40.5. Just it seems like they're just begging you to take the over on that one. So
And I have to
um
give you a better credit to update your record on week 14. You are 20 and 15 going
yeah,
into
yeah,
this week.
yeah. 20 and 15. Yeah. All right, not bad, but not great. We need a big week. Let's go.
We
Four
both
and one
do.
or 5-0. 4-1 or 5-0. Let's go.
I'm trying to get close back to 500. I'm hoping I can do a clean sweep this week. I got the Denver Broncos going against the Raiders. I'm hoping this is a big game for the Broncos. It's at Las Vegas. But again, that Denver defense, if as long as Bo Nix does his job, this should be a good game for the Broncos. They
Man,
should
I
be
like the
able to
double
win
down
this.
after they burned you last week.
I know, right? Rams at the Cardinals. This isn't a game that I love picking, but I think that just the offense of the Rams is going to be too much, and the defense. I do think the Cardinals are going to score points. I just think that the Rams are going
Jacoby.
to at least score enough to win by more than a touchdown, at least 7.5 points. So I'm hoping
Mhm.
that's the case. I guess we'll see. I don't. I can't really say I love that pick. I wish I would have stayed away from that game, but I couldn't. The Dolphins versus the Jets, the over. I went with the over on this one because I think both defenses are bad, and both offenses have shown the ability to score some points. So I like that one. I did take the over of the Titans and the Browns. Now, this seems like one you probably wouldn't want to take, but it's only 33.5 points.
Yeah, it is only 33.5 points.
So this is what Vegas does to you guys. So,
You're
you
talking
know,
about Cam Ward versus Shador,
I
the
know, right?
matchup of the century.
That looks
The
like
Browns should just start Deshaun Watson.
it looks like dog on paper. But when you see that 33.5, you're like, there's no way these guys don't score more than, you know, 16, 17 points each, right? They
Yeah.
got to be able to score 17 points each, right?
Yeah, my laugh was just an offensive explosion between just a
It,
shootout. They score
it would be
like
great.
60 some points. Be
It would
awesome.
be great. The Saints versus Tampa Bay. I also took the over here. I think Tampa Bay, this should be the type of week where Tampa Bay should be able to hopefully be a good scoring team. And then the Saints trying to play catch up, maybe even garbage time type thing. I'm thinking that this is at least in the 20s type of game here between the Saints and the Bucks. So that's my best bets. And Ryan, both you and I, this is who we're betting on. We're not telling you guys who to bet on. So if you're following our bets and you're losing, don't come to us. We're not responsible. This is just for fun for Ryan and I of who we would bet on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Steve's losing too.
I am losing. Man, I need to get on the right side of best bets really bad. And, this is tilt for me. I need to go 5-0. We're getting close to the end of the season. I don't want to go out with a losing record on best bets. So I need to this needs to be my climb. All right.
Godspeed to you, sir.
So with looking at our best bets that we did, again, Ryan's 20-15, I'm 14-21. Still between the two of us, we're close to 500 with that. But we'd like to be a little bit better than that. Basically, Ryan's pulling his weight. I am not in best bets. Like we told you before, this is week 14. So if you guys have, any start questions throughout the week, send them to our X. We'll try to answer those as best we can. We want you guys to take our charts. We'll throw them on there as well too. Use the charts to try to help you guys get into your playoffs. And if you have any feel good stories, like some of you guys have mentioned, that hey, what Ryan and I are putting together for you, what we're saying, the questions that we're answering for you guys, that's helping you guys win in the weeks. We like to hear that. So please let us know. Good luck on playoff elimination week. Hopefully, you guys are making it into the playoffs and you're in the hunt. You're motivated. That way, when we have our show next week for our playoff edition, you guys are just as amped up, whether you're going through the consolation bracket. Hopefully, you're going through the championship bracket and working your way towards a trophy. And if for some reason, the advice that Ryan and I gave you or our picks help you guys get to a trophy at the end of the year, please let us know. Send us pictures. Yeah, we'd be jazzed about that too. Ryan, anything else you want to say before we get into injuries?
No, I mean, I just like you just reiterate what you said. Huge week for fantasy football, people all over the place. It kind of stinks the NFL has bye weeks this week. I really do think that they should care more about fantasy football and and the industry that it actually gives to the NFL, and no better than to schedule bye weeks in weeks 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Like they should just be done with them after week 13.
Now, some key injuries for you guys to pay attention to. Amon-Ra St. Brown is questionable. Man, he hasn't practiced all week, so it might be a game day decision type thing that really stinks. Being early in the week and you know that he has an ankle sprain, so even if he does play, you don't know if he's going to be able to function like he typically would. So you saw that I didn't have him on the top 15 for wide receiver, and that's why. Even if he does play, I don't know how much you can trust his ability to be able to go out there and perform like he normally would. Justin Herbert, he's got that left hand fracture that he suffered last week. So he's scheduled for surgery, but the team thinks he might play in week 14. So we see Darnold playing with a broken leg. Herbert's going to try to play with a non-throwing fractured left hand. Crazy stuff, but super tough guys out there trying to get wins for their team as they're getting closer to the playoffs. So again, some to also watch. How Herbert wasn't on my top 15 for quarterbacks, and again, it's just you don't know whether this guy's going to start, whether he's 100% or he takes one hit. Does he finish that game? Omarion Hampton at running back. He's sidelined since week 5 with an ankle injury, but he's trending towards returning this week. So if he plays, Vidal might take it might be like a timeshare type thing back there. I think the workload is they ease him in before giving him the whole thing. Keenan Allen, we'll see. You know, um, I think he had an injury that he was questionable here too, but Allen's value, as far as whether same thing with Lad McConkey. If Herbert's questionable and may or may not play, then it really suffers on whether it's Omari and Hampton, Vidal, Keenan Allen, Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnston, all those guys suffer if Herbert's not playing in that football game. And then one more that I have to keep an eye on for Joe Burrow is the return of T. Higgins, as long as he's able to clear concussion protocol this week. As long as that happens, you should see a Joe Burrow that has a healthy T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and that can be dangerous facing Buffalo defense. Ryan, any injuries that you're thinking of that maybe I'm leaving out?
No, I was trying to go through them. I think you covered them all.
I think
There's
Drake
some,
London is trending towards playing this week. So you might see him back as well.
yeah.
But that's all I can think of right now. We just did at TJPDX says thanks for the good chat all around, fellas, and thank you. Appreciate you tuning in on YouTube. Um, yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for tuning in, Ryan. I wish you the best of luck in your fantasy football, just not in the ultimate lineup this week. I hope you do
Same.
great in best
Same, brother.
bets, but I want to bring it home. I want to bring the pain. I want to go 8-2, but we'll see what happens. Um, Final word.
Good luck. That's all
That's
I
all.
got.
That's all you got. Yeah. So hit us up on X if you guys have any questions and you need some. Hey, who should I sit start? Check us out if you didn't catch the whole episode, either on YouTube. And if you're watching us right now, please go to our YouTube and you can look us up with Fantasy 15 FB and just punch that in your search bar on YouTube and go ahead and give us a subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to build that up. That's one of the ways that you guys can support us. We definitely appreciate it. So for the Fantasy 15, again, we're your source for fantasy football. Check out our charts. I'll post them on X as well for you in case you want to review those again. But thank you so much for tuning in again this week. Hey, much love. Go win your playoff elimination week, make it in the playoffs. And let's see you next week for week 15 playoff fantasy football. Good luck, guys.